Yellow.
Hey,
Hey, how you doing?
good. You sound good.
Did I sound good? Oh, good, good. Like does the audio sound good? And everything?
I don't know.
Okay, because I can put it on the on my headset.
Yes, of
Okay,
course.
let me put on my sorry. Let
What
me
kind
put
of
it on
what
my
kind of
headset.
sideshow is this?
Okay, there we go. So now
Yes,
I'm on headset. Is that better?
it's much better, Father.
Okay, that's good. That's good. So
Mr.
everything
Tits.
okay, Mr. Tits? It's Mr. Tits to you, Mr. Pee Poo Pee Pee Poo Poo.
You like all the photos? I found them.
Yeah, those are great. Yeah,
They're
those
nice.
are awesome. Yeah, that's fantastic. What a nice find that was. Yeah, beautiful.
You're beautiful, sir.
Yeah, I know. I know. I'm beautiful. I'm a beautiful human being. Are you ready to rock and roll?
Yeah, how much time you got?
About probably 25 minutes.
Okay, you watch the clock, sir.
Okay, I'll watch the clock. I'll watch the clock. Okay, it's time for real raw recovery, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I'm Joe Tilley.
Hey, Joe Tilley. I'm Tyler Tilley. Oh!
Okay. And we're talking to you from other opposite ends of the planet. I'm in near Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and you're somewhere else.
In a faraway place.
Faraway place. A faraway place. Bangkok. Okay, so let's open with a serenity prayer. Moment of silence. Quick moment of silence. And serenity, we prayer. God,
God.
grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, courage to change the things we can, and wisdom to know the difference. You mind doing the reading today?
I guess so.
Yeah, I guess so. It's a pretty good one.
Let me just pull her up.
Pull her up.
Okay. Do I have a choice? The fact is that most alcoholics, for reasons yet obscure, have lost the power of choice in drink. Our so-called willpower becomes practically non-existent. Page 24. Big book.
Yeah.
My powerlessness over alcohol does not cease when I quit drinking. In sobriety, I still have no choice. I can't drink. The choice I do have is to pick up and use the kit of spiritual tools, page 25. When I do that, my higher power relieves me of my lack of choice. When I do that, my higher power relieves me of my lack of choice and keeps me sober one day at a time. If I could choose not to pick up a drink today, if I could choose not to pick up a drink today, where then would be my need for AA or a higher power?
Right. Yeah, if it was just as simple of making a choice and saying, "Hey, I'm choosing not to drink today." Okay. I mean, I think if I'm a real alcoholic, that's going to be a choice I can't make because it's a choice I tried to make many times for a long, long time, and I got nowhere with that. And so also, if I want to change myself, like if I want to change my way of thinking, I want to change my attitude, want to change and get rid of some of my character defects. If I want to do that, I also have to ask for help to do that because if I was just capable of doing all that on my own, where would be the need for anything? You know, like if it's all about choosing, just making a choice whether I drink or not, whether I change or not, or just have a couple. And I always like to use the analogy, well, for somebody who doesn't understand, yeah, that makes sense. But to help them understand, it's like, okay, I've got a violent case of diarrhea, and you're gonna tell me don't crap my pants. And or don't go to the bathroom. Like, no, you don't need to go to the bathroom. You can hold it. Just hold that violent diarrhea, and you'll be okay. Just hold it. Don't go. And what's going to happen is I'm going to fill my pants, right? And that's a very, I think, an appropriate analogy, because people said, "Oh, you would never try to hold diarrhea." Well, if you're an alcoholic, you never you control drinking or try to quit on your own, because it's useless. Because all it takes is one crazy idea to pop into my head, and I'm gone. So the whole idea behind the program is to find it's a pathway to follow that helps me to get out of my head and to change my way of thinking, so that one day at a time I can just reach for that kit of spiritual tools instead of reaching for a drink or whatever. So that's where I'm coming from.
So do you think there's two different problems? The one that when the allergy kicks in, when you start drinking, you can't stop, and then there's another problem where
the compulsion,
you put it down for a while and you can't stop thinking about it. So there's two different
aspects. Yeah, that's right.
So is that two different diseases or what?
No, it's two-part disease.
Oh, it's two-part
disease.
Oh,
we have the compulsion, which after we were sober for a period of time, we have an irresistible desire to pick up again. And there's also the allergy, which kicks in, that once we pick up and take one, we have no control over the amount we take.
I don't know if I agree with that.
Really, eh? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Seems like a cop-out.
So what are you saying, that it's all a farce? It's not really a disease. None of that's true. That people just should have the willpower.
No, I'm not saying that.
Okay, then what are you saying?
I'm saying it's for the point of the amusement of on my end for the discussion. I think that it doesn't make sense when I threw those questions at you. Oh, so it's a disease when you start and you can't stop, and it's a disease of the mind when you're obsessing about it.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
right.
Where I disagree is I don't think those are fair to call them diseases.
Well, I don't think it's two separate diseases. I think it's one disease. The American Medical Association a long time ago concluded that it was in fact a disease, and the allergy part of it is there's a difference. There's an actual physical difference between me and a person who's a social drinker.
No, I think where my hang up is I can see the logic between starting to drink and then really not knowing the outcomes of that series of events once you pick up a drink.
Yeah.
But once it's down, once the bender is over and you come to,
yeah,
I wouldn't just grant that as a disease going back. I think that needs to be further investigated. I think the medical association's referring to the allergy of once you're consuming alcohol. But I don't know I don't know why you would put yourself through something after it's not working for you. After, like, let's say you put a week together, right?
Yeah.
Stop drinking, and then when you go back, and then once you pick up, then you go on this crazy tear because you can't just have 3,
Right.
Or even 5. You know what I mean? Like, you all of a sudden you're gone.
You're out of control.
Right, but it's that gap in between, and then when you decide to go back, I don't know if I call that a disease. I that's something else. I don't know what. So that's
that mental obsession is part of the disease. The mental obsession is part of the disease because it overcomes all other thinking. Like it's totally insane. Like it's insane thinking. Like anybody who's got any sensibility at all will see that it is absolutely insane to pick up a drink after what an alcoholic has just put themselves through. To pick up a drink or drug and go through all that stuff again. Anybody with any sensibility can see that's a problem. It's idiotic, and you're just going to cause damage, and it makes no sense at all. But you do it anyway. So why do you do it? Because you have in your mind, you have this crazy, insane compulsion, which only alcoholics and addicts have, that tells you, keeps lying to you and lying to it, and you're lying to it and lying to it, won't allow you to remember that all the damage that it's caused to your body, your mind, and everything else, and your relationships, and it won't allow you to remember that. All it just tells you, it keeps telling you, oh no, that's wrong. Forget about that. You're overthinking. One will take the edge off. It's going to be. It's what you just take the one. One will take the edge off, and you got that compulsion going on in your head all the time. Normal people don't have that. That is part of the disease.
No, I think so. I disagree, and I disagree because I think that's caused through a series of things like trauma or environment or the way that you're. I don't think that's a disease. I think.
Yeah, but forget about where it came from or what it's caused by. There's only a certain segment of the population that has that. And the reason that, listen, normal people, normal social drinkers never even ask these questions. They never say, okay, like, I wish I could quit because I need to get my life together. They just quit. But addicts and alcoholics, they say things like, I wish I could quit so I could get my life together. I'm going to try to quit today. And then halfway through the day, they're picking up and they're going, well, in their mind, they justify it. In that sick brain, they justify it because of that sick brain where the compulsion to drink overrides anything else. It becomes the go-to move whenever I'm feeling a certain way, angry, sad, lonely, whatever. The go-to thing is to pick up. And actually, they've studied rats, and they found that once rats become alcoholic or addict, there's a segment of their brain that is related to the old brain, the reptilian brain, along the same lines as fight or flight. It's their addiction becomes part of that. And a normal person, a not addicted rat, that doesn't happen.
Yeah, we've had like 2 or 3 episodes called Rat Park on this podcast.
I know, but that's what I'm telling you. That they're scientifically, they've proven, it's been proven that alcoholics and addicts have a separate way of thinking that is different from normal people. And it's like, how do you explain picking up a drink when you know that you're going to freaking die? You're going to die. Every doctor, everybody around you, so you pick up that drink, you're going to die. You have liver damage. Everything's going, you need to not drink. Okay, gotcha. I'm going to die. I want to live. I don't want to die. And then you pick up the drink. Why?
I think that's tied with upbringing.
Yeah, just upbringing. Well, then how do you explain somebody who comes from a non-drinking family and becomes alcoholic? Never learned to drink. Never learned that. But yet they're an alcoholic. Came from a family where nobody drank. That's not how they solve their problems.
So listen, we don't have much time. I agree with you that there's a disease element in having a disease called alcoholism. I believe that there is a weird where some people can have sip on a drink or have two or three, whereas the other people, it can take you off the rails. And what I'm debating, or just questioning rather, out loud, is that second portion of once you come out of your bender and you can put a couple days together, that desire to go back to that, I'm curious about that. I don't just quickly dismiss it as, oh, you're physically different. I think you got some major trauma. You need some major therapy, and I think that there's some major deep issues there that need to be uncovered, which in theory you would do through the steps. So I'm actually not that far away from you. I just don't like really classifying things when really we don't. I just don't feel like it's been thought out. And if you want to talk about rat park, they can make any rat an addict, and they can make any rat come out of it.
For sure.
Right. So it's
for sure.
So we're not all that different.
I don't know about rat. I don't know about coming out of it. I don't know how I've never heard of that experiment. Okay, where they make a rat come out of their addiction. I know that they've taken rats and introduced them to rat park and socialized them and everything else. And as a result of doing that, they haven't had the same issues that the addicted rats that were in lonely, environments. Yeah, that's a different thing. But anyway, another thing that I look at is that, okay, there's a whole bunch of ways that we might be able to explain this or that. And it might be related to the trauma or whatever it is. And, but the bottom is like, why does that even matter? If I accept that alcoholism is a disease, and if I do something about it, and I recover from it, and I work the 12 steps into my life, and maybe I go for some outside help as well, because it helps me to, better, be better, better adapted to my environment, whatever. If I do that, outside help, work the steps, and who cares? Who cares if part of the disease is maybe disease is an actual disease, and part of the disease is maybe like something a little different? That doesn't matter. The bottom line is, it is what it is, and I have to change, and I have to change if I got any chance, because otherwise I'm doomed to die, which is how before Alcoholics Anonymous and 12-step programs came along, before if you go back and look at the way Dr. Silkworth dealt with alcoholics in Towns Hospital, and before, they had no idea to deal with these people. Now there's a way to at least understand it, deal with it, and have people change. And there's millions of people on the planet today who are sober as a result of that, and many millions of people have died sober as a result of that. So why would I care about the why and what if and whether it's a disease or not? That doesn't necessarily matter. I know it matters to you, but it doesn't matter to me. I'm just saying it doesn't matter to me. The important thing is,
it matters because the message you're sharing is for somebody who's going to maybe make it to 2 years. After that point, you're going to realize that if you are a flawed human being, things need to be actually really done at that point. So you can go through your hurdles to escape the routine of hell that you've been in, all your habits, in the way that you are living your life, all the conditions you're under will usually morph in the first 2 years. After that, if you make it past that point, you really need to look at why you have all these obsessive compulsive behaviors. What is really like, you might need to perhaps get diagnosed properly of what the real diseases are and are not. because I really think that you're a flawed individual, and I personally want to know where am I at a disadvantage, or where am I disabled? You're talking about diseases. That means disability. That means a lot of different things, and those are very
No,
important.
I mean, people have diseases
Those aren't important to people who's got 5 days with
yeah.
with a handful of teeth, and are just trying to get some days. It doesn't matter how, why, when, what. Just do this, do that, do this, and then that. Then if you miraculous get to 5 years, things are going to become important about who you are, what you're doing, how do you manage your mind that is obsessive compulsive about not just alcohol at all. And in fact, you should expand to start realizing that if you even classify as an alcoholic, you're probably addicted to everything you touch. Because if you're not addicted to everything you touch, then you're not obsessive compulsive. If you're not obsessive compulsive, then chances are you're not an alcoholic. That's why it's important. You just have a problem, you're a heavy drinker. You don't really know what addiction is at all. You couldn't even imagine. You just rely because you've gone through a hard time in your life. You went through a divorce or something, so you picked up a crutch. And to be honest with you, you don't need any sort of intervention. You just need to pass through it as time goes on. That's why it's important to know how and why and what kind of diseases you're just going to start diagnosing yourself. It's ridiculous. That's why it's important, because you always talk to people who are maybe going to get 2 years and go back out. I like to talk to people who got 15 plus and have made it their life's mission, and that really know who they are and where they're going in life. And AA is just a stepping stone. That's why.
Yeah, that makes sense. And you know what? It makes sense. But and also, but you see, AA is a stepping stone, and that hopefully leads to, but it is also a way of living if practiced on a daily basis. It is a way of living. It's not just, it's more than just a stepping stone. And I think that you find a lot of people who've got a lot of clean time will tell you that. It's a very useful way of living, and very helpful. Anyway, that's great.
Oh no, you're not getting out of this one, sir. No, just kidding.
Yeah. All right, let's close with a serenity prayer.
Okay, bye.
Okay, God, grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, courage to change the things we can, and wisdom to know the difference.
Just for record, I don't think AA is just a stepping stone. Just talking about that.
Right. Yeah. No. But you made a lot of good points about about change is really important. And if you just, there is a lot of work to do, and getting rid of those character defects takes a lot of work, and can take some time. And I agree.